Welcome to the OnBase 18 overview. My name is Glenn Gibson, Director of Product Communications here at Hyland. Before we get into the specific features of this release, we wanted to address this important question first. Why upgrade? In each release, there is new and improved functionality, which includes new products you can benefit from and improved user experiences. With our continued and aggressive focus on delivering highly configurable solutions with as little custom code as possible, you will find a tremendous amount of enhancements to the admin and configuration tools available in OnBase also. Every new release also includes updated compatibility with browser versions, operating systems, and the latest versions of other software applications that we integrate with, as well as brand new integrations. Each release also includes a significant amount of security-related enhancements thanks to our internal, dedicated security team who continually evaluate and bolster our security design, utilizing security best practices as well as external testers that we use for penetration testing and things like that. Security threats from hacking techniques to malware and ransomware get more sophisticated every day. The latest available version of OnBase includes a roll-up of all the security patches released since the version that you're currently on to address the most current threats. And with every release, we are continually evaluating and improving performance from how our software utilizes memory through to the responsiveness within our client interfaces. These same things apply to every release, and OnBase 18 is no exception. So the question is, which OnBase version are you on? Simply because even since OnBase 17, there have been over 3,000 enhancements spanning across the areas I just mentioned, and this has been the average over prior releases too. So from whatever version of OnBase you are on today, from the latest build of 17 to an older version, we would encourage you to upgrade to the latest version as soon as possible to take advantage of everything we just mentioned. Okay, so what is in this release? Well, as I already said, OnBase 18 includes over 3,100 customer-driven enhancements. And of course, we cannot cover all of them here in this presentation, but we will talk about the major highlights. And an important note that further detail on all of these enhancements will be provided in our What's New page featuring 39 videos on community. There will also be additional technical training available on premium subscription, and we'll come back to other education areas at the end of this presentation. So with that background, let's get into some of the specific highlights of OnBase 18. As we have done for the past several releases, we are organizing these highlights basically into the following groupings. First, enhancements that the end users will see and benefit from. Then, enhancements to our admin and configuration tools that really our OnBase admins are the main beneficiaries of. And then finally, we group what we call platform enhancements together, which include enhancements to our integrations and some of our server and architectural components. So let's start with user experience. First, there's a new product called Image Forms, and this is actually replacing a prior product called Image Forms Composition. This can replicate paper-based forms either for compliance or aesthetic reasons into versions which can be completed digitally. The example shown here is a healthcare form which has been scanned into OnBase, and then using our Unity Forms configuration interface, the administrator is able to simply drag and drop the required form elements onto the form. That could be checkboxes, radio buttons, date fields, etc. So this enhancement or this new product clearly benefits the OnBase administrator as well, but because it's brand new, we wanted to start with it. Now in the Unity client, we have updated the image viewer, which will deliver faster and more responsive performance, particularly in handling larger files and large quantity of images. This is the same updated viewer that we're using in other areas also, such as our scanning interface too. We've introduced the ability for the administrator to have better control over notifications and pop-up messages to make sure that these aid user productivity rather than get in the way. Overall, there's been upwards of 300 STRs in the Unity client alone addressed. Another new product on the Unity platform we're calling the Combined Viewer. This viewer presents a combined view of several different capabilities within OnBase on one screen, with the purpose of aggregating all information about a specific customer, employee, transaction or case or whatever that might be. So on the left you can see this new tabbed navigation which will provide instant access to the related information wherever it is in OnBase. So that could be a workflow queue, a workview filter, a query, etc. And it has a visual display of the specific information that is related to whatever we're working on. In this case, it's a customer. This interface is designed for a power user, people working on a case-like set of information that need a rich view of all the information in one place. The web client has some user experience improvements. This includes updated colors, layouts, menus, and how dialogues are displayed also. There's also been improved performance with the way that we're grouping lists, and what were formerly known as threads have been renamed to discussions. It's a lot more of an intuitive way to present the collaboration and conversations occurring on documents within the web client. We have also improved batch indexing support. And in the web client, the send to mail recipient in both the ActiveX and HTML web clients can send email via Gmail, Outlook Web Access, and Outlook 365. This is supported across all supported operating systems and browsers. Now, talking about supported browsers, this is a diagram of the browsers supported in both Windows and Mac OS. Obviously, Internet Explorer and Edge are unique to Windows and Safari is unique to Mac OS. And the version numbers here show which versions are supported in an OnBase 18. And of course, Chrome and Firefox are supported on both operating systems. In our Esri integration, we've added multiple user experience enhancements building on improvements in OnBase 17. For example, we are expanding support for OnBase feature layers as we display OnBase documents as a layered map, and we'll see an example of this in a second. We're utilizing the GPS coordinates from the mobile device at the point of image capture, and we also have an improved OnBase widget in Esri. As I just promised, this is an example of the OnBase feature layer being displayed as a heat map. And using the graphical UI, this shows how multiple OnBase documents can be selected right from the map and sent for immediate workflow processing. In reporting dashboards, we have several enhancements for the user experience. When we're displaying data in a grid, we have the ability to choose specific columns to display. And the engine powering reporting dashboards includes two new report types, a scatter chart and a tree map. Here's the scatter chart showing purchase orders plotted by a combination of purchase order and total GL amount. And then this is a tree map visualizing counts of packing slips by vendor. These are just new ways to visualize data beyond a simple hit list. Mobile has several enhancements in 18. First, the ability to authenticate via Touch ID on iOS platforms. And we've also added support for authentication via identity providers for single sign-on to the OnBase apps on a mobile device. In our iOS and Android apps, we have added a native app shell for workview applications. So instead of having multiple icons for various case manager applications on the mobile device, these can now be presented within one mobile app. When a user installs this, they will see all the apps that they have access to within this application. These mobile apps can also be seen via a desktop browser, these workview mobile apps for that same experience. And we have added signature capture on iOS for images and PDF documents also. So for example, when a customer is opening a new account in a branch, the customer can be handed a tablet or a phone to sign on directly. Now, for healthcare mobile specifically, there have been some additional enhancements. For Epic customers who are utilizing Epic's HiQ and Canto mobile apps, when the user clicks to retrieve content in OnBase, this can now automatically switch into the OnBase mobile app to view and interact with the content. We also have the ability to add documents for corrections in our mobile applications and add notes to add additional content or contextual information on the go. As we continue to bring our combined suite of healthcare offerings together, we have integrated the PACS Gear mobile app with the OnBase mobile app to capture patient images and videos from iPhones and iPads, and then allow that content that can be edited to be done so and annotated. So here's what this looks like. If the iOS mobile app for healthcare applications detects that PACS Gear Mobile is installed on the device, this option will show up in OnBase Mobile, and clicking it will launch the PACS Gear app. And finally, for government users specifically, there have been several UI enhancements. First, in electronic voting capabilities for meetings, and additional various enhancements to OnBase agenda management. On the iOS Agenda to Go app, individuals can review meeting minutes prior to the meeting and annotate and make notes, etc. These enhancements have added essential features to OnBase that were previously only available in the Sire product, ensuring that customers transitioning to OnBase from Sire will continue to have the functionality that they need. Additionally, Plan Review has been updated with several enhancements as well as new fields added within reporting dashboards. Of course, Esri is important in government too, and we covered those enhancements earlier. So that is a synopsis to the enhancements of the user experience within OnBase 18. Let's now move on to the improved admin tools in this latest version. We'll start with the admin side of reporting dashboards. The biggest headline here is that the data from WorkView Case Manager can now be used as a data provider to present reports. This is so critically important for our case management solutions, and it brings a whole new level of visualization tools to applications built within WorkView Case Manager without needing to use custom SQL as was needed previously. Also in reporting dashboards, we've improved the wizard for copying dashboards to make that process much easier, and we've added new formatting options for displaying information within both cards and grids. Within WorkView Case Manager, the ability for reporting dashboards to present information graphically is so important that we're mentioning it again. Additionally, we can also expose data from WorkView filters into Esri GIS. So these are two options to really display data in a rich visual fashion from our Case Manager application. Additionally, and this is also a very significant enhancement, is that the View Designer has been rewritten in 18 and integrated into the OnBase Studio. This now has a more intuitive drag and drop design experience akin to configuring Unity forms. Now please note that the 64-bit version of OnBase Studio is suggested and preferred when working with large WorkView applications. And new to 18 is the Application Creator Accelerator. And no, that's not a typo, it's a combination of the word Excel and Accelerator. This beautiful new tool allows admins to use an Excel spreadsheet to create a basic application configuration and then pull that in to OnBase really to accelerate their application creation time. There are also several new enhancements to workflow. The first one to mention has been a very popular request, the ability to utilize forms for workflow interactions. There are several new rules and actions to learn about. Workflow can inform users that notifications have been sent. There's also additional capabilities to process emails. With the rule determining does the email have an attachment, OnBase can then take certain actions such as creating an OnBase document from the attachment or removing the attachments from an email, including the capability to remove embedded attachments or small images from people's signatures, such as things like a LinkedIn logo, things like that. And a very good addition to the does the related item exist rule, you can now dictate which of the related items you want to execute against. So for example, if a document has 10 related documents, you can specify which of these should exist before triggering the action. In the Unity Management Console, easier management of schedulers and times, as well as some improved tools to assist with troubleshooting as well, are also introduced in 18. There are several other important workflow enhancements, so definitely check out the workflow video for a more comprehensive list, and that applies to all of the products that we're talking about too. Now, for our distribution server, which is really the hub for notifications, there is a brand new dashboard available in 18. This dashboard can report on the status of notifications such as success, failure, pending, and issues, and allow administrators to view the recipients and subject lines, etc. Here's what this looks like. In Capture, we have some new capabilities in the Capture Process Designer. This has been another very popular request, is the ability to evaluate based on file type. So for example, if documents within a process come into the system in all different formats and you want to ensure that images are sent through an image cleanup process, this is now very easy to do. And there are multiple other use cases for where the file type would be used to trigger a specific path of action. We've also added timers to schedule the steps within processes and to send notifications, and those could be a kind of a general report or a notification based on specific events or times. And as Brainware is such an incredible tool in our Capture arsenal, we have added the ability to leverage Brainware within the Capture Process Designer with a new document type and keyword mapping tool for integration. We can now process individual documents as soon as Brainware has performed its magic without waiting for the full batch to be completed. So now we come to our third section, the platform enhancements for OnBase 18. The first thing to mention here is that it's goodbye ODBC and hello ADO.NET for server database connections. And this is important to utilize the latest database access technology from Microsoft. And there's really two main benefits to this. The first is improved security. With ADO.NET, you can use your own database logins for connectivity to the database rather than using the HSI or the HSI.NET account with the default passwords, or having to rotate the passwords for those accounts. So that's a very significant difference. The other is improved performance. Our performance team's testing shows that ADO.NET performs faster than ODBC due to a decrease in round trips to the database. ADO.NET performs significantly faster when there is network latency as well. Now, we have added new integrations in OnBase 18 for SAP's cloud-first platform S4HANA. And we can also integrate with SAP Fiori, which is their web and mobile friendly responsive user interface. And this includes the ability to retrieve documents using our PDF pop within the Fiori mobile app. For AutoCAD 2018, we've updated the UI to match the Unity client look and feel, along with improvements to viewing such as changing the background color and markup creation with the ability to allow repeat markups. With our integration with DocuSign, documents can be re-uploaded when a DocuSign envelope is deleted. So that's another little piece of functionality we've added into that integration. We've also added packaged AP automation for Workday, that's financial management. I mentioned Esri enhancements earlier, but we've added this in here just for a complete picture of OnBase 18. Now, with insurance specifically, our integration for Guidewire has been enhanced with standards-based XML web services. This allows for a better integration with Guidewire and removes the need for customization on the Guidewire end. OnBase and Guidewire can talk to each other, pass information back and forth. And there's also new capabilities within Guidewire windows. And again, the Epic integration enhancements for their mobile apps, we mentioned those earlier, but just to round out the story. As we mentioned at the outset, one of the major reasons to keep OnBase up to date is to make sure that we're mitigating risk and taking advantage of the latest security patches and enhancements. Here are some of the highlights specifically related to security. We've expanded our identity provider support to the web server, including our POP integrations, as well as to mobile and other areas like document composition. The web server team noted multiple security enhancements in our web platform within OnBase 18. In workflow, we've added even more granular permissions throughout the workflow process to bolster security and allow you to ensure that you're only providing access to what is needed when it's needed. And again, earlier I mentioned Touch ID support on iOS, kind of a round out of these security features. Added in to what we mentioned with ADO.NET and the ability to move away from the HSI user account, we can really see some very key security pieces that we've put in place here too. There are two fantastic things to talk about in OnBase 18 as regards the migration of systems and configuration. The first of these is a new feature called Test System Creation, which replaces configuration migration. This is a significantly improved approach to allow you to replicate your production environment into a test system, and it can also be scripted. The other highlight here is that we have reimagined our import and export experience. Previously, there were several locations and tools to import and export various different elements within OnBase, such as workflows and workview applications, etc. These have now been combined into a single experience, so everywhere you can import and export will have that same experience for you. So that's configuration, OnBase Studio, reporting dashboards, Unity Scheduler, etc. So let's see how both of these tools relate to each other. This is an overview of a standard multi-environment setup, and as a reminder, your test and development licenses are available to you as part of your maintenance. In order to create test environments from production, there has been three main options, or three things people have done. One is to use the old tool, config migration, as I just mentioned. Another is to perform a database backup and restore, and another is to do a completely new install. Now, without getting into the pros and cons of each, suffice to say each of these options presented significant challenges. Now, there's no need to do any of these, as the Test System Creation tool replaces them all. Also, in terms of promoting configuration back into production, for example, forms, workflows, workview applications, there have really been three main choices. The first was to manually reconfigure everything from scratch, and who wants to do that? We could have used specific import and export tools created for whatever you were working on, if there was such a tool. Or you could just skip the test and development environments and configure in production in the first place. Now, instead of these choices, there's simply one consolidated import-export tool with a consistent experience, vastly improving this process. And we know that this will be very popular with our administrators and make your lives so much easier. So here's what all of this looks like kind of together. Now, talking about making the life of the administrator easier, about 1.5 years ago we created the Server Updater, and that was to make it easier to update the web server and the application server. This was to provide the ability to do updates to the latest build or service pack within your current version. And this was in order to apply any necessary patches or to support the latest versions of evergreen browsers. And this allows these servers to be updated within just a few minutes. As of OnBase 18, this Server Updater now supports all of the server components you see on screen. Adding 64-bit compatibility allows our software to utilize more modern hardware configurations, improving performance by utilizing things such as higher allotments of system memory. For 64-bit compatibility in OnBase 18, the largest news is that the web server is now only 64-bit in OnBase 18. The app server also has 64-bit support, and this is preferred, although the 32-bit is still available. The same applies to Studio, where 64-bit is preferred, especially with the addition of Workview, and if you have large Workview applications, although again the 32-bit version is still available. And finally, the last reason to upgrade to OnBase 18 is that it is the best performing version of OnBase yet. In talking with our development teams, all of the products you see here were specifically called out as to having had improved performance. And this could be due to either the way the software utilizes memory, to its responsiveness on the user interface, or a combination of the two. So this concludes the highlights of OnBase 18. To summarize the key point, these are the key reasons why you should consider upgrading to OnBase 18 as soon as possible. If you're on a version earlier than 17, remember that the enhancements each year are cumulative. So not only will you gain an incredible amount of new functionality, you will also receive updated support for the latest browsers and other applications we integrate with, as well as the very latest security patches and updated and improved performance. Along with all that, you will also have a lot to learn about what's in each one of these releases. So where do you do that, and what is next for you? Well, go to Community. Here you will find the 18 release gallery of video content that I mentioned earlier. And remember that prior release galleries are also available there. So take the time, especially if you've got a few versions to catch up on, to watch at least the overview and the individual products relating to the elements and the modules that you own. While you're in Community, don't forget to access the release notes. So if you click through to the release notes from within the 18 community, you will get this dialog which will allow you to produce a Delta report of all the enhancements pertinent to you from your current version to 18. And for a deeper dive, don't forget about our modular reference guides, which contain all the information you need to know about your specific elements of your solution. To further your education, we also have this list of training courses available on premium subscription. And these free e-learning courses are also available for end user training, all updated with OnBase 18. So with that, we thank you for your time and we hope that you enjoy the very best version of OnBase yet.